This 911 Strong podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Police Credit Union of California.
As a financial institution founded by law enforcement for law enforcement and their families over 65 years ago, they have the experience and understanding to help you with all your financial needs,
including exclusive products designed specifically for law enforcement professionals. To become a member today, visit thepolicecu.org. That's the police, the letter C, and the letter U.org.
Or call 800-222-1391 and tell them you heard about them from the 911 Strong podcast.
Station to all units.
Prepare to copy.
You're listening to the 911 Strong podcast.
Don't act like I never told you.
With Aram and Kristen, bringing you stimulating discussion.
No, I like the sound of that.
An entertaining conversation.
And now, here's Kristen and Aram.
You cannot enjoy the view from the top of the mountain without first experiencing it from the depth of the valley below and the actual climb. Whatever you do, keep climbing. When you get to the top, extend yourself a little grace to enjoy the view and bring as many as you can with you. Then go find a bigger mountain to climb. By Robert Sepiel Jr., Assistant Attorney General, Deputy Director, retired, and the CEO of Resilient Minds on the Front Lines. This is a great quote. It's one of the many quotes that's included in the book, the Resiliency Journal for First Responders. And we've got the author of the Resiliency Journal for First Responders as our special guest today. You may have heard of her because I introduce her on every episode of the 911 Strong podcast. That's my good friend and co-host, Kristen Jauregui.
Yes. Hi, guys. Yep.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so exciting. It's available on Amazon and Amazon Prime on paperback. And how exciting. You've been working on this for a while now.
A long time.
But it's finally coming to fruition and it's available now. And I can't wait to get my hands on a copy so I can get a photo and an autograph with the author.
Oh my gosh, stop. But yeah, it is exciting. I will have a hardcover available soon too, just because at least on Instagram, I asked people what they wanted and it was pretty much 50-50. So we'll see about that. And then, it's crazy. It started in the summer of 2020 and it just kind of went on from there, and life happened and got distracted and or frustrated because I'm not very technically savvy. And so I hired some help and got my editor, Kara, to help me. And she's done a couple books herself as well. So she helped me finish up all the hard stuff that I would never have been able to do on my own. So
the book is out today. It's the first day it's out, and you were already on a book tour, getting your first podcast to plug your book in. But no, it's more than a plug. We're not, obviously we wanted to talk about this for a long time, but we wanted to wait for the right time, and what better time than the release of the book. But what is a resiliency journal for first responders?
So, obviously I've been kind of doing my own like resiliency training and gratitude training and just a bunch of self-care things throughout the past few years, and saw like what a difference it made. And I also am fully aware that we might not want to share our traumas or our grievances or our problems with, our friends or even our spouses or significant others. So I started doing a journal way back when called the 5-minute journal. And so it was just like prompts in the morning and prompts at night to just try to get you on that positive mindset, like in the morning, and then to go to bed with a positive mindset. In the morning and going to sleep with good thoughts instead of all the troubling thoughts that sometimes we have, pelt up about what we're going to be doing the next day or what troubled us during the day. So I was doing that for a few years, thanks to my friend, Christina LaCure, who I befriended. And then I also hired her as a life coach. And she kind of, during all of the craziness that was 2020 and I guess you would say not the downfall, but the I guess, defunding of the police and how much we were turned into, I guess, kind of like the criminals, or we were looked down
Mhm.
upon and treated really poorly. Um, I figured we needed something like this. So I looked, and there was absolutely nothing like this available anywhere. I mean, there was like journals, but they were blank pages, nothing like to really like prompt us to think about things of what we're going through, throughout our careers. So that's what it's for. And I wanted it really personal. I wanted them to realize like I'm not just doing this to make money. Like that's the last thing that I worry about. Like I have
Mhm.
my career. I'm not one of those that's trying to like quit and like make it big on something else. Like I really wanted it to just be for first responders, from first responders, and all about first responders. So even the cover itself, the the cover picture is hands that are in like a praying stance, and it's like holding the American flag. And it's been out for the last 2 years also, for sale through Barbara Monte. She was the one who designed it for me. I told her what my concept was and what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And this is what she came up with. And to take the story a little bit further, which makes it more personal, also, is her husband's an officer on the
Oh,
East
okay.
Coast. And so the hands that she sketched are her husband's hands, and he's holding it's a towel actually, but he's the one. So she's sketching her own first responder husband's hands holding the American flag. And so to me, that kind of like made it even more personal on top of it. And then I have quotes every day, just small quotes that I had asked my followers, either if you were a supporter or if you were a first responder, to send me some quotes that got you through your hardest day. It could be your own personal quote, it could be a spiritual quote, it could be anything. And so all the quotes for these 4 months, each and every one is through a current or former first responder or a supporter of first responders. And then we even have bigger pages that we call resounding resiliency. And it's like a longer quote that really just like has like some really good, I guess, emotions or wise words for you, like the
Mhm.
one that you just read. And
Right.
so that's what it is. So it's just for them to really like consider like what they're going through in their day. And so there's like daily check-ins and weekly check-ins and then a monthly check-in.
Yeah, I think that's cool. It's one of the cooler things about your book is what you just mentioned is that you include um, things that motivate the people that would essentially be your audience.
Mhm.
You've built up a good audience on social media, and when you put this out there that you were writing a book, you asked for their participation, and so
Mhm.
you actually include those quotes that motivate others in there. And if you get the book, you'll see the quote that motivates me in there
Mhm.
as well. And I think that's cool because unlike other books that people put out, where you're reading largely the author's thoughts and feelings, you include other people and you
Mhm.
insert prompts to where the person that buys your book is going to insert their own.
Mhm.
So at the end of this book, when all is said and done, the person that reads your book is essentially an author as well. They're going to co-author this with you because
Mhm.
when they look back at this journal, they're going to look back at it's a conversation between essentially you and the reader, which I think is a really cool concept. I'm surprised nobody else has done this before. As you mentioned, there's no other first responder journal like this. And when
Mhm.
you originally came up with the concept, I thought it was going to be more like a devotional, but no, you thought way outside of the box. This is way more than a devotional. This is a personal journal, a
Mhm.
conversation between you and the reader. So, for everybody that is excited about this book, definitely understand and anticipate that this is a interactive book. You're going to be participating in it,
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
like a daily devotional.
Yeah. And I mean, I think when you do fit, I'm sorry, I'm chopping on my words. When you do end the book, it could be, I mean, depending on what your shifts are, or maybe just how the months are broken up. Like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe this particular shift, this is what was troubling you because these are the type of calls that you're answering, or the calls that you're going on, or what was going on in your home life. And then you can keep reflecting back, and throughout the year you can see like how far you come, or maybe how your perspective has changed on things, or how your gratitude is, or like, hey, now you realize that whenever you go to a Karen's house, like it used to like really send you through the roof, but
Mhm.
now you've realized like there's other things to really worry about, and rather than letting that upset your day, like kind of, I don't know, just to really like get the reflection going on, and like I said, the gratitude for the smaller things in life, like
Mhm.
just have more meaning to other things rather than focusing on all of the bad things. And if there's things that you cannot change, like we can't change other people, but we can change how we respond to them. We can change what shifts we sign up for, or we can change, maybe we can't change our shift, but we can change being at the station for a particular amount of time, or you know what I mean? It's just about creating a positive change in such a negative atmosphere.
Right. Speaking of atmosphere, I just thought about this. So we were invited at some point in the next couple months to go to Proforce out in Brea
Mhm.
to record a live episode of our podcast. But we should actually make that a book signing. You know, have a stack of your books there, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to not just want to buy the book, but maybe take a picture
I
of
don't
the
know
author.
about all that. They'll probably buy the book and have you sign it.
No. Okay, well, we're going to have our listeners chime in. If you want us to do a book signing for Kristen, let us know. Send us a DM or a comment on one of our posts and let us know, because I think, you know, Kristen's a humble person by nature and she's very shy. But if you guys encourage her to get out there, I think that would be a good idea. Not to mention, Proforce is probably the best venue for that. They have the absolute best in law enforcement equipment, firearms equipment, and they have a great classroom up there. I don't know if you remember that classroom. That
Yeah, it was really nice. Mhm.
So we'll go up there. It's a convenient location, and it'd be a great venue. You can probably we can set up our podcast up there, and then at the end of it, do the book signing. I think it's a great idea. And then while people are waiting, if they can shop around. They hired so many new people over there that if they get tired of listening to our podcast or waiting for the book signing to start, they can go to the showroom floor and absolutely check out some guns and gun equipment.
Yeah.
And then so it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win for Proforce. It's a win for the customers. It's a win for our listeners. And it's a win for your book.
All right. If they want me to, then I will. But
No, we're gonna do
yeah.
it because it's my idea, and my ideas are usually great. So
Our entrepreneur over here.
no, it's good, and plus I'm gonna get 10% of all the cut of the book sales. So I'm just
Okay.
kidding. 15%, but just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but you mentioned it's not about the money. If it was about the money, you would have had deadlines. You would have had a price point that would have made you a killing. But
Yeah.
the book's going to be reasonably priced, and it's available on a large format like Amazon, so it's going to be widely available,
Mhm.
which is huge because I know a lot of people that wrote books, and you can only get them from their own website. And when it's their own website, it costs them money to run, and then they have their own distribution. And so now the book's just super inflated. And but no,
Yeah.
you had the foresight to put it on a widely available, totally scalable platform to where people can just log in. Everybody has an Amazon Prime account and get the
Yeah.
book. But let's go
And
back.
I will throw out there, if there are, because I know our Resilient Minds on the front lines, the one that you read from the quote, they were going to be possibly ordering it in bulk. So if there's other like small nonprofits or whatever that would like it to hand out, then just let me know and I can get it at a different price for you.
Sweet. So let's go back to the book.
Mhm.
You were doing other personal journals to get you to this point. How did you
Mhm.
feel that was therapeutic for you? I mean, was it just being able to express your feelings? Because for me, when I've done a journal in the past, it would trigger thoughts for me like, man, I didn't really think about that. And then it would force me to write down my feelings. And I'd be, not that I'm a touchy feely guy, but it brought that side out of me.
I think, I mean, for me at least, I like to write. So it's more of like just dumping like just brain space and thoughts in there, and I can be more honest on paper than I can in person.
Right.
So like how we do like those angry texts or like those drunk texts, or you get a response from
Never.
I mean, I haven't done that in like a long time, but I'm just saying, or when you get like emails and you're ticked off about the email, right? And you start like angry typing back like what you want to say, and then you're like, oh crap, like delete or backspace or whatnot. So with the journals, like that nobody else is ever going to see them in theory anyways, right? Unless you want them to see it. So for that, I mean, you can just brain dump whatever you want to put in there. And for me, that's where the real honesty comes from, because nobody's judging you.
Mhm.
You can put whatever you want out there and nobody's going to know what you
Right.
have to say. I mean, for all I care, if you want, like, brain dump your heart and your emotions out there, and once you're finished with it, then maybe burn it. Like sometimes that's therapeutic to people too, is
Yeah.
like writing a letter and then throwing it in the fire and like letting all your emotions go.
Ooh, I like
So
that. We're gonna, in addition to a book signing, a
we're
year
gonna do
from
a
now,
book burning.
book burning event.
That's so
We'll
horrible.
do a Jeep trail and we'll finish it in Johnson Valley. We'll have a large bonfire and we'll have a mass book burning. Oh my gosh, man, my creative juices are flowing.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
No, it'd be
But
great. It'd make for great. We'll put it out live on social media, and it'd be great. We'll make
yeah,
this an
just
annual event.
releasing our emotions in
It
the big
really
book
is.
burn.
I mean, there's something to be said about people get attracted to the campfire, right? When you have a campfire, people automatically gravitate towards it. And what are you doing? You're talking sometimes about your personal emotions and stories, laughing, having a good time, and you're staring at the fire. Well, imagine a fire 10 times that size. It's going to gravitate, people are going to be gravitating towards it.
Yeah, the fire department.
No, it's out in the middle of the desert. We have bonfires all the time. I can think of people just lining up, having their own personal thoughts, just saying what they need to say and just tossing it in the fire, just getting it out there. I think I want to do that. So if anything, if it's not going to be a huge event, it'll be a personal event.
All right, we'll just do it.
Yeah, I think so. I have a lot to get off my chest. I know this isn't the episode that we're going to be getting a lot of that stuff off our chest, but for our listeners that are just, this is only our second episode back since the tragedy at our agency. If you didn't know, we lost 2 officers in the same day at our agency. And I think this book came at the right time, Kristen. Honestly, for me, it's hard for me to just be emotionally out there in front of people. So for me and my personal thoughts, when I get this book in my hands, it'll just be morning time for me. It'll be first thing I do when I get up and the last thing I do before I go to bed, in addition to prayer. But I think this would be a good complement to the prayer and just set my day. I think when I start off my day with gratitude and self-reflection, it sets a good tone for my day, and I can reward myself by reflecting on that before I go to bed again. So I like the idea. I think it's something I needed now. So I'm glad it's out now, because really it's only been a month since the shootings. And other than talking to friends and family, I really haven't had a time to just really collect and gather how I feel by myself. And this is something that I want for myself, not something I'm going to share with anybody, but stuff I'm just going to put out there and put it down. It's a personal journal. That's exactly what it is. And then, at the end, when I'm done, when I feel good about myself, I'm going to throw it in the fire.
Sounds good. Yeah, I hope so. I hope people see it as just another outlet and something that they can do if they're feeling stressed out or want to start working towards being a little bit more resilient and having a change in perspective and feeling more gratitude towards our everyday lives, and how truly blessed we are in many circumstances. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's I think a lot of people, it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and it's going to do really well. When you got done with this book, what was your hope that this was going to reach as many law enforcement personnel as possible? At the end of this, are you hoping that people recognize that self-resiliency is a good idea and maybe it affects change at agencies?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, it would be great if, it's just an additional tool. Like, we have a bunch of different trainings out there, and, like you said, we have our podcast, we have other podcasts. There's just a bunch of tools, and this is just another one that's maybe a little bit more private that you can do. It doesn't have to be so outward and open. And hopefully, for people that like to write their emotions, like myself, that's my outlet, then maybe that's what they'll gravitate to rather than, talking to a friend or a spouse or somebody who doesn't feel like they can because they're either scared of judgment or they just don't want somebody else to worry about them and how they're feeling. And so, I mean, if it starts changing, helping towards changing that stigma that we have, then that would be amazing. I mean, ideally, yeah, it would be great if this changes the stigma along with like what we talked about in our previous podcast for, the counseling team and having a peer support group and everything else, because the trauma we experience day to day is not normal. It's not normal for any human being. And we're expected to be these like robots that don't show emotion, and yet people get pissed when we do not show emotion. We get so jaded, and we have our dark sense of humor and everything else, and they don't really get it. Well, I hope that the first responders get that my journal gets what they're going through and gets you, and the people who gave the quotes get what you're going through because they've been through stuff themselves in some way, shape, or form. So there's just full support all around. And hopefully, like you said before, also like the age of retirement is now, what is it, like 3 years more, 3 years longer. And as it is, there are people that are retiring medically sooner than later. And so now you're adding on years. So there's going to be tons of medical retirements, but hopefully if they're taking care of themselves, both mentally and physically, maybe it won't get to that point.
Yeah. Do you find yourself when you start your day doing a journal page that it sets a different tone throughout the day as opposed to when you didn't do it?
Yeah, it does. I've noticed that I've come a long way. And in addition to the journals, I do my devotions as well.
Mm-hmm.
I read like little Joyce Meyer books.
Mm-hmm.
And then and sometimes it like hits right exactly with whatever emotion I'm going through with that particular day. And so I do that. I read some passages or verses from the Bible, and I do my journal, and it just frames your way of thinking just a little bit differently. And so you might not feel it at first. It might feel weird. You might skip a day here or there, but eventually you'll be building a habit.
Yeah.
And then you'll realize that maybe you no longer need the journal anymore, but that you're doing it throughout your day, like noticing little things like, oh my gosh, the trees are in blossom right now. They look amazing. Or, hey, I'm going to take another drive down a different street and appreciate like my neighborhood a little bit differently, or, just appreciating the sunsets or the rain or even raindrops. Like, I know it sounds cheesy and very like woo woo, but when you start appreciating things and seeing things in a different light, it changes your attitude and your behavior with things. And then you start letting certain things roll off your back a little bit easier. Like if my kids like spill something, like I used to freak out. Like if my home is a freaking mess, I used to freak out, especially when people come over. Now I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I have kids, and if you can't understand that they're little tornadoes that screw up every room as soon as I leave it, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is life. I'm not going to worry.
It sets up your perspective. You have a different perspective. But so how long does it take? Like, how long does a daily, like if you have a rushed morning, for instance, like some people get up, they have to make their coffee, pack their kids' lunches, and
it just depends what your daily routine is. Like, say, like, okay, here's my daily routine when school starts. So I make the kids as well. Now they make their lunch, but okay. I used to make the kids lunch the night before. So I would make it before. And then when I would go to bed, I would put my phone on the side of the bed, and then I would do my journal. And then, sometimes I would watch TV after that. But as soon as I sit down, my phone, my journal's right there by my bed. So that's the last thing I grab, I write in, and I put it down. In the morning, if you don't have time while you're thinking about it right now, okay, well, now the kids' lunches are made because you did it the night before. So you still have that 10, 15 minutes that you used to spend making the lunches. So while you put on a pot of coffee, then start doing the journal if you want to do it that way. I mean, if you're not as rushed, then as soon as you get up, then pull it off your nightstand and start filling it out there. but it's just, and if you do it with your devotion, I don't think it'll take you longer than 5 to 10 minutes. It shouldn't take you any longer than that. I mean, if it does, and you're really in tune with whatever the question is for that particular morning, fantastic. But ideally, it shouldn't take you any more than 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. So, and that's not a lot to ask to set up your whole day. I mean, you've got 24
No.
hours in your day.
Yeah.
Some of us are active for 13, 15 hours that day.
Mhm.
Make an investment in yourself for those first 5-10 minutes for yourself to change
Mhm.
your outlook for the day, your perspective. I pray every morning before I leave.
Mhm.
When you walk in our house, we have that pew bench next to the door. That's
Mhm.
where I sit, and I'm usually the only one awake in the morning. I leave my house so early that everybody's still asleep, that it's my quiet time. I sit there, and
Mhm.
I'm never in a rush to prayer. I sit there, I'll close my eyes, I'll take a deep breath, and I'll just meditate a little bit, and then the prayer comes to me.
Mhm.
I don't have anything to close my day. I'm usually so exhausted. I come out of my shower, almost everybody's asleep already, and I just not kind of knock out. It'd be great for me to finish my day with that sort of meditation and self-reflection also. So I'm definitely going to do that with this book. That's going to be something that I start and finish my day with. I'm so excited for just being able to invest in myself. Really, really, that's what we're doing. We're buying a
Yeah.
book, and it's really just an investment in ourselves. We take more of a risk buying diet pills and
Mhm.
testosterone boosting pills and all these other things online, ashwagandha, and whatever new fad is out there. Why not spend that same amount of money and make a personal investment in ourselves on something that's proven?
Mhm.
It's we know it's going to work.
Yeah.
Or so take a risk on something that is an investment on yourself.
Yeah. I agree. I think it'll be good. And I mean, like I said, it'll take time and um to build up that habit. Usually it takes a good month to build up a solid habit. So if you, just like anything else, if you skip a day, you miss a morning, you miss a night, like don't beat yourself up. If you want to go back and fill it out, then go back and fill it out. But
Mhm.
just keep moving forward and do what you got to do. And eventually that that gratitude and reflection will eventually become a good habit, and if it's not for you, then it's not for you, but at least you can say you tried it. And everybody has different things that work for them, and if you're struggling, then you might as well just try that. Or if you need a little bit more or want another push, then
Mhm.
just try it and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, maybe suggest it to somebody else and it might work for them.
Yeah, it will set the tone. It's a good practice. It's like a manual for what you want to do, because after you're done with the book, that doesn't mean you have to stop. It means you need to keep going. And this is a good way to get you in that habit and that mindset. And for me, I don't know how to do a daily journal. I've never kept a diary or journal growing up, so this is a good one for me. And the prompts are already there, so I like it. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. I can't believe it. You're still making me buy one. I thought we were good enough friends where you're giving me one.
No, I'm giving you one.
N-
Stop it.
No, hey, you just messed up what I was setting it up
Oh,
for.
sorry. I'm not giving you one. Buy
No,
it.
so hey, listeners out there, if I have to buy one, you have to buy one. Okay.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
well, thanks, Kristen. It's so awesome to see my personal friends go out their comfort zone and grow personally. I don't know. Did you ever think you were going to be an author of a published book on Amazon?
No. Why would
No.
I ever think that?
Yeah, and here you
Yeah.
are doing things, and I got to say I'm very proud of you,
Thank
and
you.
very happy to see that something that you started, um, that you thought was a ridiculous idea actually came into fruition. So
Yeah.
congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, you can go on to Amazon.com today, and you can go on their search and put a resiliency journal for first responders, or put Kristen Jauregui, that's Jauregui, common spelling,
Yeah.
and the book will come up. It's an easy one to pick out. It's got a gray background, and it's got an American flag draped around some praying hands. So, big
Mhm.
bold letters that say first responders. So, yeah, support my co-host, my good friend Kristen, and support yourself, because this book is definitely a self-help book that is interactive, and we're all going to be on the same page together. And so, you can't be invited to the book burning unless you've done the book. So, get the book.
So get with it.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well,
Oh
that
gosh.
ends this episode of the 911 Strong podcast. You know, we know that you have your choice to listen to anybody and invite us into your homes, your offices, and on your drives. So we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for letting us be a part of your lives. And we'll catch you next time on the 911 Strong podcast. See you later.
Bye.